Hi, my name is Rebecca Toe from the Queen's School of Business in Kingston, Ontario, Canada, full-time MBA alumni class of 2014. Today I'm here to share with you guys why I chose to do my MBA in a different country in Canada, and hopefully some of you guys out there are considering doing an international MBA as well. It'll give you some things to think about. I was born and raised in California in the San Francisco Bay Area and did my undergrad in communications in the University of California, Davis, and worked for about 6 years in marketing, communications, and public relations in Silicon Valley prior to going back to pursue my MBA. For me, Canada was a great choice because growing up, for some reason, I always was fascinated with the country. I don't know if it was watching the Canadian teams in the Olympics or watching movies about Canada. I definitely have learned now that it's not the snow. But yeah, when it came down to picking where I wanted to go to school, Canada made sense because then I get to kill two birds with one stone and spend some time in a country that I'd always wanted to live in while pursuing my graduate degree at the same time. The other reason I chose to do my MBA in another country was about career growth and personal growth. And I think it's important to point out that when you guys are looking at where you want to go to school, whether it be in your own country or internationally, you really know what you want to get out of the experience. For me, I knew that growing up and going to school and working in the same area where I was born, it was really important that I get some exposure to what it's like to live and work outside of that area, at least in some point in my life. And that's why going to school in a different country made sense to get that exposure. And certainly when I went to school in Canada, I learned all about what industries are relevant to the economy in Canada, but also Queen's is a great school for international students, and I got to meet some of my really lifelong friends now who were from different countries, from Russia, from India, from Latin America, and I got to learn from them also what cultural differences existed when it came to working with people from different countries and what it's like to do business in their countries and also the countries that they had had international experience in. The other thing that was important for me too was I know a lot of people will think that Canada is not exactly international when you're coming from the States, but actually it is. I think it's important to point out that any country is going to have its own nuances and cultural differences. And for me, I already knew that I wanted to spend my career within North America. And so balancing that with wanting to get international experience, Canada made sense for me. And I knew that also where I picked to go to school would be where I'd ultimately develop a professional network, both within my classmates, the alumni network of Queen's University, but also looking at, well, what industries and businesses and career opportunities surround where I was going to go to school. So Canada made sense for me. And it's not to say that if you guys choose to go to school in a certain country, that that's where you're going to have to work afterwards, but it is important to think about that as well. And the thing that I'd always say to anyone who's an international student is really to take that year, 2 years, 3 years, however long your program is, even if it's an exchange opportunity that you're pursuing, to really embrace the culture that you're going into and make it more than just about the academics for that time period, right? Because you're there to make lifelong friends. You're there to learn what it's like to truly live in a different country. And I think that those experiences are going to grow you so much on the personal level, and I know it has for me. Really, I had to start all over essentially when I moved to a different country, really find a place to live, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's just an experience I'll never forget. And I'm always so grateful that I stumbled upon Queen's University, and now I'll always get to say that I have that international experience. So I hope this was a little bit helpful to you guys, that it gave you something to think about. Really, what do you want out of your experience where you choose where you want to go to school?